Hello and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 114 for September 16th, 2014. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and this week's host of the podcast, and today I'm joined by...
Bruno, special guest coordinator, and this week, the editor.
I'm Flutterguy317, and I'm the media manager for the podcast.
And I'm Admiral Spark. I do the questions, a DeviantArt page, and some other stuff every now and then. And now here's a podcast.
nice intro.
I feel like we should, champion.
What is this
like? I feel like we should put
like
the intro cinematic after that.
What is this
it's like you're doing a radio broadcast or something.
And now
my radio voice isn't very good though.
And now over to the weather guy.
Not the moment you've all been waiting for.
Did you guys catch that I said this week's host as if we ever have any other host?
Hey, you're not here.
I was the host once.
Yeah,
I guess. Are you chewing?
No.
On a bagel?
No, it's toast actually. No,
okay
I'm not.
then. As long as it's not a bagel, my parents were killed by bagels burned.
Good.
So, I mean, you know the story.
Nobody likes anti-Semitic bagels.
Okay, so autumn is here, and it is so cold outside compared to like a week ago. It is so frustrating being Canadian, let me tell you. Holy cow.
I feel your pain, even though it's not here yet. Like, it's been so much colder than it was like last week or the week before that. Like, it was, I think it was like 16 degrees here, and you had what, like 6?
Well, okay, so like in the morning and right now, it's like 5 degrees Celsius up in Ottawa, and like the high was like 10 or 11, and it's just like, we had like 1 month of summer anyways. Like, couldn't it have just lasted a little bit longer?
It wasn't like that hot of a summer either.
Yeah, it was really, really cold for the summer. So I'm hoping that means that we have a warm winter somehow, as if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
I also feel your pain. It was really, really hot here this week.
You
it was like
jerk.
32 degrees yesterday. It's like the second day of spring.
Oh man, look at me. I've got such nice beach weather. I have to get my bikini wax on.
So
you can take that off?
Yes, bikini wax off, bikini wax on.
I feel like that would make the Karate Kid much more enjoyable.
Oh my god.
Maybe that should have been in the second one with Bruce Willis.
That's awkward.
well,
Mr. Miyagi.
Can you say spin-offs?
Mr. Miyagi, bikini wax on.
That's bad.
Well, this has taken quite the turn.
I don't know how you're going to transition to the next point you want to talk about.
I have no idea. But so... do you want to go ahead?
No, go on. That was my generic eating toast noises. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
With fall comes a lot of fall things. Autumn, sorry for all of you non-fall speaking people.
There are two people in the world: people who say fall and people who say it the right way.
So one of the big things that I did last year with my sister and a friend of mine is I went to the Big E, which is a big fair in the Northeast U.S. That takes place in Springfield, Massachusetts. And there's a whole bunch of activities and stuff like that. And it's a very like fall, like cidery kind of fun time stuff. And I actually met a few bronies last year there. I got some bro hoofs, so that was cool. So if you're going to the Big E, like, keep an eye out. Yeah.
I don't think I
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Big E is our next quote-unquote convention.
I will
book your flights.
Yeah.
If any other people are going to this festival,
This one random festival.
Horse times.
I'll hand out some business cards and take some pictures.
Have you sent me
out
yet?
some sweet bro hoofs.
Yeah.
Hand out business cards? Really?
No.
Did we have business cards?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we do have business cards. They were supposed to be
Have
shipped with you.
have I been
Ted,
sent
have
mine
you
yet?
shipped Joel his stuff for BronyCon yet?
Not yet.
I'm gonna kill you.
Let's put all the
Ted,
blame
I'm
on
moving
Ted.
house in like 3 weeks.
I know.
Completely divert
It's-
myself away from the situation.
It's been 6 weeks.
I know.
I almost said months.
I know.
That would be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous. No, it's in a box. It's going out.
I'm gonna bug you this weekend to do it.
Yeah. No, I will probably go to the post office if they're open tomorrow and ship it out.
Yeah.
So
Do it.
yes.
Do it.
And Burn,
All right, so
Burn,
do it.
send the
Do it.
send the
Do it.
business cards.
No, I lost them. Let me just. Hold on.
I lost 500 business cards.
Oh, wait, let me just
Did you really?
shove that over there.
That's a special kind of special, Burn.
No.
Yeah.
He's got him. He's just.
I was
he's
trying to
forgotten
make
shit.
some kind of joke, but I just realized that no one can see anything I'm doing.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
a
just
completely visual joke.
spread 500 business cards all over my
Great.
desk.
Great for audio.
That was a mistake.
Nice.
I gotta pick that up.
I love visual gags on like audio podcasts. It's great.
Speaking of visual gags, something that I did this week I thought would be pretty funny, but again, there's nothing I can really show for it.
Did you visually gag?
Yes. So at my work, we're kind of like a new work, and we're expanding really quickly. So in order to kind of liven up the atmosphere, I guess some people in my office thought it would be cool to put up some like picture frames and like encourage people to like, I guess, fill them at some point, or maybe they were going to fill them later, but they were just like IKEA picture frames.
Let me get this straight. They put up picture frames with no pictures in them.
Yes, they bought things from IKEA and just had like the default like that flower and the weird name, whatever the IKEA name for the picture frame is.
Yeah.
They just hung those up like all over the office. And that was like 2 months ago. And so they started being filled in more and more, and I guess people just kind of did it. And so I was looking out, and right outside the kitchen there was these 3 picture frames that still had not been filled. And this has been like 2 or 3 months now. And so I finally said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to do something funny with these pictures. So what I did was I took those 3 picture frames off the wall, and my old boss at this job, I recently switched teams, but I used to have this boss who is a very serious guy. But apparently in his spare time, he does yoga. He teaches yoga. And so he's got this like crazy like hippie picture of himself on our like company chat that looks like nothing like him. And we're like, what? Like, Dave, where does this, what's, you know, there's like the disconnect between like serious Dave at work and like super relaxed, chill Dave at yoga training, right?
Yeah.
So we took this picture, or I took this picture, and I printed off 3 versions of it. One of them that was just like normal, one of them that was sideways, and the other one that was like a collage. It was like 4 versions of the picture, like evenly spaced. And I just stuck them in the picture frames and stuck them up on the wall without saying anything. And from where I sit, I can see the picture frames, and it was hilarious. It's still funny to me. Every single time I pass those stupid, giant JPEG'd black and white pictures of him, it makes me laugh.
I love how you didn't fill just 1 picture frame. You filled 3 picture frames with pictures of him.
With different versions of the same picture.
That's so great.
You should have done a. I can't remember the guy's name. The like the different colors all in the one thing.
Yeah,
Like
we don't have like a color printer, so
Oh, okay.
so we didn't do that. But I did something similar to that. Like I took like it was like 4 pictures.
Yeah, you
in
should
one
have
frame.
got that 4 picture one, so you know it looks like a little window or whatever. So it's four pictures in the thing, and then like colored it with different colors of highlighter.
Yeah. It's
Like
like
yellow, pink, orange,
CMYK.
and blue.
Just go down to like the front desk and be like, "Yeah, I need highlighters for my work." And like, "Why do you need highlighters?" Like, "No, for no reason."
Just color, because you can color in the black and white like photo. You can make your own artwork, dude. You could make it a statement and like actually like try to realistically color one of them with highlighters, and then make like the 4 colored squares.
I
Like,
think
you can go far with this.
I think it already is a statement, but you could make it more of a statement.
So he didn't say anything when he first saw it. I didn't see when he first saw it, but he didn't say anything. But a couple days later, he sat down with me at lunch and was just like, "So those pictures, huh?" And I was like, "Oh, you found out it was me?" And he was like, "Yep." And he started laughing. He was like, "Well, I'm flattered." And I learned later that apparently, like when I wasn't around, he was asking like everyone in the office, like just like he was trying to be really subtle about it. He was just like, "So about those pictures," and people were like, "I don't know who did it."
That's awesome.
But like, it's so hilarious to me that like he was going around the office being like, "Who put up these? What? Like, what is this?" Anyways,
That's
it's now
actually
my
a
goal
genius
to see
idea,
how
having the
long
photo
it
frames
takes
everywhere.
before they take it down.
They won't.
Like-
It's an art installation now. Like you
Like
can't mess
I'm
with that.
leaving in January, and I hope that's if there's one thing that's
That's
my
your
legacy with that
legacy.
company, exactly, it's that.
It's gonna be that.
What you should do is, you know, in art galleries have the little plaques with the artist name and a little bit of description. You should make one of those and stick it with them.
I thought it would be funny to do like in loving memory.
Oh God! Wow, that got dark.
Yeah.
In loving memory, Yoga Boss.
So we're kind of running up on time here, but we did have a major event happen for the podcast recently.
Yeah, we hit 1,000 watchers on DeviantArt, which I think is really, really awesome. So I put up a little journal, but I just wanted to reiterate. I just wanted to reiterate over this sentence.
Quite.
And also to reiterate how awesome that is for you guys to go and do that. Because, getting 1,000 views on a video is really great, and we really do appreciate that. But, going to the DeviantArt and watching us, I feel like that's like that like next step up, like that next level. You guys really like put in the effort and like to like follow us. And so it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to these guys as well, to see like us hit like a milestone like that. It's really cool.
So we kind of discussed it a little bit, but we were thinking of if you guys wanted to, there's no pressure or anything like that, but if you wanted to send in some fan art of our 1,000 watchers, we would stick together kind of a 1,000 watchers episode. Featuring
no promises.
All your art.
We haven't promised anything. This is still your idea.
Yeah, this is still my idea completely, but
we might find a way to work it onto the show somehow.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching us.
Yeah.
Ew, it's sticky.
All right. And on that note, let's jump right into the art. Starting with none other than Joel Atmospark.
Yeah. Tell us more about your sticky art.
Tell us more about your sticky predicament.
No, it's a koala. My koala is sticky.
He's typical
Well,
Australian.
I don't even know what I expected.
What does that even mean?
Australians, koalas, just
Sticky
That was
koalas.
so Australian.
I have these little souvenir koala type things, and one of them apparently got sticky on my desk because something spilled and I didn't realize.
Okay.
So I have a sticky koala.
my
gonna
endless
attach it to myself,
sympathies for your sticky koala.
What is your art piece, for the love of God?
All right. So my art piece is called "The Light and the Night" by the Sixth Leaf Clover.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I
think this is one of 2 pieces of pony work that they've ever done.
Yeah, you were telling us about the fact that this person doesn't really do pony art that much.
No. I think they've done this one, and I've done a derpy for a friend, like it was a con badge or something. But yeah, so this is the one that I have chosen. It's huge. It's the Sixth Leaf Clover has been on DeviantArt for ages. They make a zodiac calendar of dragons, and they're very, very well known for their dragons. Silver's been following them for like years. So yeah, they've been around for a while, but they haven't done pony.
It's so wide, and they're also selling them as like a panoramic print, like huge panoramic prints that you
24
can buy
inches
for,
by
like,
86 inches.
Wow.
Yeah, and, like, you can buy them for like $60, $70. That's wow.
That's insane.
That's pretty cool though.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's super wide.
So it displays Fluttershy, Flutterbat, Luna, and Nightmare Moon, which is an interesting combination of characters. But I guess it kind of works because they kind of bonded during their that one episode, whatever that's called. Luna Eclipsed?
Yeah.
Luna Eclipsed.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like how this artist has laid out it's kind of like 4 individual pieces, but they kind of mesh together. Like,
right, yeah.
The Flutterbat portion of the piece is like against a tree on this hill, but the hill kind of coincides with the scenery for Fluttershy and also for Luna, and then it like continues going.
Yeah, you could definitely split, like there's like 4 solid lines, and like you could have 4 different pieces come out of this.
Right.
That's cool.
But it meshes really well together. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It's they also offer as a high res download for like a dual monitored wallpaper, and that would work really well too.
Huh.
Cool.
Something I quite like that I hadn't noticed before, like right now, is if you follow the ground with Fluttershy, it's all bright and cheery, and then Flutterbat, it's like autumny type colors, where it's like brown and golden, and then Luna, it's darker, and then with Nightmare Moon, it's real dark. So that's kind of cool as well. So it gets darker the more right you move.
Yeah, you know what? This reminded me a little bit of Seasons. Like, it kind of gave me that vibe, and especially because it seems to be doing the 4 Canadian seasons: spring, fall, winter, and super winter.
I thought you were gonna go with fall again.
Nope, just super winter.
Yeah. I feel so sorry for you guys.
So,
I don't.
Whatever. It's a living.
I really like, gosh, I forget that, the 6-leaf clover style, and it's kind of a shame that they haven't done more pony art, because I really like the way, like, for instance, they've done Luna and Nightmare Moon. Just like the character design is really cool, and I can kind of see some, like, something similar to, like, Pony Killer X or Yakovlev Vad. A little bit of
The
that
Russian
styling.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't think
more
it's
subtle.
quite as 3D looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can kind of get that vibe a little bit.
It's realistic without being super realistic.
Yeah.
This is much more painted. It's a lot less polished than something like Pony Killer X or Yaklov would make. Because they use a lot of gradients. Everything's a lot of, like, really smooth, and then the digital brushes they do use are really hidden. And they make a huge point of that to make it so you can't tell that it's, brushed, where in the 6-leaf clover's work, you can definitely tell that it's very painted. There's a lot of detail put into the painting, mind you, but in a lot of places you can definitely tell that it's been, like, painted and color's been built up.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's not very often you see it, but Luna and Nightmare Moon's, their mane and their hair and their tail look solidish. They don't look ethereal. They actually look like they're a physical thing rather than just a wisp of gas.
They're kind of a gel-ish thing, yeah.
Gel,
Yeah, or like
gel-
a combination of gas and liquid, and
It's
there's different.
plasma.
Ooh.
It's got like a. It's definitely got like a. What's the word for it? It's mixed in together. It's not just one. It's not just one thing. It's not just one state that is different colored. It's like there's all these different things mixed together, but non-uniformly.
Yeah. It looks great.
Yeah, I really agree.
Yeah.
Trying to get this on all 4 of my monitors.
Right?
There we go. All right, got it.
Well, it's a little bit hard because the picture itself is a little bit small right now. It's 2,500 by 698.
I just clicked the download and then kind of increased it, and even when I zoom in, it's not blurring at all. It's still pretty detailed.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's really nice actually to be able to zoom in and see it. I have Fluttershy on my left monitor and Flutterbat and Luna on my middle one, and then Nightmare Moon on my right monitor. Very pretty, very pretty.
Yeah, you're right. Zooming in still makes it look really good, which is impressive, because I don't know how some artists do it, but some artists get it where you can zoom in and it looks fine. Other artists get it where you zoom in and it's like all of a sudden it's JPEG'd.
And it's a lot of fun to look at art piece like this, close up, because there's a lot of small details that would otherwise go unnoticed. Something I noticed is Flutterbat is dripping saliva on that apple bitten, and it's splashing, and you can see the water splashing off.
Yeah.
Which is really well illustrated, as well as all the swirlies in I don't know a more technical word for it, but swirlies for Nightmare Moon's and Luna's hair. It looks like liquid, which is an interesting touch on their hair to make it look liquidy, with the top areas shining, creating specular highlights, and then warping things underneath them.
Yeah, I don't think it's super common for artists to do that. They really go for that gaseous form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like
That's something that struck out to me pretty well.
Yeah. I really like kind of, I guess I don't know if it would be called background spacing, because this artist put the moon, and underneath the moon the ground kind of bows, so you get this additional space to where the moon is. So there's kind of this curved valley, right where that is, and I don't know. I just
Same with Fluttershy.
interesting.
Yeah, this piece has a lot of peaks and valleys. It's very bumpy in terms of the terrain.
Yeah.
Well, the entire background is kind of built to, accent said characters. Obviously it's built into the scene, but you notice everything, on the left, in the little valley you mentioned, it kind of goes up and then slopes up to the tree and then will slope back down. underneath Luna and then comes back up on that rock that Nightmare Moon's placed on.
Mm-hmm.
So like the background is kind of doing its own thing to kind of frame the characters and go with and be interesting. Like obviously
Right.
the like world as it's depicted behind the characters doesn't make a lot of realistic sense, and like how the mountains underneath Luna are kind of like going down like with the tree or whatever. It's kind of the background is built for the characters for the scene, which makes it obviously like really interesting. But it's like a stylistic tool kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the nighttime side, it's almost like a fisheye effect.
It's like a fish island.
There's another cool thing going on with the fence that's in between Fluttershy and Flutterbat, and it goes like around the tree and then comes back down.
Yeah. It's very, very warped. Really cool.
Another thing that is like meticulously framed is pretty much, obviously like Luna's and Nightmare Moon's hair is all fancy and like liquidy, but Fluttershy and Flutterbat's hair is also like, it's like posed. It's like posed like the characters, kind of. Like how it like flows. It seems almost to be like floating, you know, in space. Where it's kind of almost like doesn't make sense for how they're moving or how they're standing. It's kind of like, it's very, I don't know, like artsy. I'm sure there's some kind of like art history term for that. It almost reminds me of some like famous things I've seen where it's like, what is the word? It's like depictive drapery or something, or there's a word for if like a sculptures or something's clothes represent the emotions of a character. There's like a word for that, so it's like their hair is like representing like their emotions or like this of this scene. I don't know if I can. I'm digging really deep. But the hair is posed
nice.
in a very interesting fashion and is very like meticulously rendered with highlighting and light and shadow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work put into both Fluttershy's and Flutterbat's hair. Equally so in Luna's and Nightmare Moon's.
Yeah, I was going to say, the two Fluttershy ones, their hair looks like solid. It looks like plasticine almost.
Yeah.
But in a way that it still looks light
Yeah.
and fluffy.
Kind of sculpted.
One thing I wanted to quickly point on, the blending between Flutterbat and Luna. You can see it's not two separate things and they've just laid them on top of each other. They were created together. The lighting on Flutterbat and the tree behind her is all coming from Luna, which is cool. So you can tell that they're like almost side by side, but you wouldn't really there wouldn't really be a thing.
Yeah, like Bernd was saying, it's not really a real space, but they all coexist in one space. The space itself isn't real, but they're all in the same space.
That is a good point, though, that the lighting from these spaces or scenes or little universes they're in do interact with each other, like they're in one singular one. So, like, you have natural sunlighting on Fluttershy, and so you don't see a lot of, like, specular highlightings coming from other stuff, but you do see reflective light coming from the grass, so there's green hitting Fluttershy, like, on her underneath and on her hair, and then, like, the blue hitting Flutterbat. And then on Nightmare Moon, there's a lot of orange coming from the behind of the moon there. So there's a ton of like orange reflecting on her.
Yeah.
And then a little bit on Luna's like wingtips and stuff like that. So
Yeah. All right. Really cool. All right.
compliments
To the chef.
We do need to move on. Thank you for that.
If people couldn't hear him, he said to the chef. That's really funny. Good job.
All right. So we're going to move on
I'm
to
funny, dang it.
Rainbow Plasma's piece.
Yeah, boy.
You are sometimes, Joel.
I have a piece for you guys today, which I thought was really interesting. Not just because I really enjoyed looking at it, but also because it came with a really, really cool work in progress. So I'm hoping that we can talk about it and the work in progress kind of side by side. So the piece is called Twilight Sparkle by Fraulenin. I'm not even joking. I'm pretty sure it's Fraulenin. And this piece depicts Twilight reading some sort of book on a desk on a floating platform in the middle of pink nowhere, which is really cool. And I really like the way that everything is kind of got like this pink overlay. He or she has somehow managed to make Twilight like pink and kind of still made her fit in with the background and still made it very obvious that it's her, and it doesn't look weird, even though it's got like a lot of drastic kind of like a filter on it.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting if you look at the work in progress GIF. It looks like they kind of modeled her in some sort of 3D software, and then put a bunch of overlays on it, or like drew over the 3D model or something. I'm not sure exactly how, but
well, I can actually shed a little bit of light on this because I looked this up a little bit, and what ended up happening was the artist wanted to make a 3D scene first, and so what he or she did was they drew a little sketch and then they modeled it, and the plan was that model would be a finished version. And so you can see as it goes through this GIF that you start with the sketches, then you go to the model, and some way through there they realized that it wasn't really working out that well, so they switched back to a visual art style, but they used the model as kind of like a reference point because they used the model to kind of like get the anatomy looking okay, and to be able to like manipulate the arms in 3D space and the legs in 3D space to be able to get things working properly. So it's this really interesting blend of traditional, or I guess it's still the digital art, but like digital art and 3D modeling that kind of came together unexpectedly to make this piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know that like it's not that uncommon that artists will kind of model something in 3D, especially if they're not so sure about the anatomy or the perspective or whatnot, because there's a lot of really awesome 3D tools out there for doing stuff like that and then drawing over it.
Yeah. I think the cool thing about using this modeling software for kind of like positioning of a character is that you can manipulate, if you have a good enough model or a good enough rig, you can manipulate the character's like body to get it like right into the right place and then draw over it. Because when you're drawing something, just like let's say pencil on paper, if the arm is wrong, you can't just move the arm, you got to redo it all, and try again.
Yeah.
But with a model, you can kind of like drag stuff back and forth and get different angles and get different styles down, all with the same model.
Especially if you have an armature and bone structure in the model.
Right, yeah.
I do like the combination of techniques and mediums. Sorry, is the word. Combination of mediums they used in this one. Like they started with the sketch, and then they moved to the 3D modeling software, and then they finished it off with still this 3D model, but overlaid with all these different filters and crazy stuff, and then colored as well. That was really cool. Like if you watch the work in progress GIF, there's like 2 frames there where Twilight has no eye shinies, and it's horrifying, and then it all comes together right at the end.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, and I really, I've always enjoyed the work in progress stuff, and this is like a quick little bang bang boom, here's a snapshot of the work in progress, and you can really see the evolution of the piece. So more artists should do stuff like this. I mean, because this is really cool. I could really stare at this GIF all day, because every single time I look at it, I see something new about it.
You know what I find really interesting and cool is the eye shine on Twilight is a square, so it's pretty much like a window would look on an actual eye shine.
Yeah.
Whereas like the show and most artists will put like just a circular or ovular eye shine on there, even though like if you're looking at a computer or if you're looking at a window or whatnot, it won't be a circular shape.
Yeah. That is kind of cool. It kind of gives this sense that there is something off on the other side of her that we can't see, that exists, even though if you look closely, it's a pattern of the same kind of flowers that's right, or the same kind of plants that's right next to her. Maybe those plants are in a window or something, or maybe, I don't know, maybe she's outside and I don't know. It's really cool. It's definitely different.
Maybe it's our computer monitors.
Ooh. Twilight's in your house reading books.
She's in the computer. I do like all the filters that they used, if they are actually filters or if it's just like they painted it like that.
I disagree.
I know Burns not a big fan of it.
I just have a big butt frustration with filters. I just don't care for filters in general. I think it's just a bias of mine. It just like filters on artwork kind of reminds me of just like stereotypical women,
like Instagram.
Like Instagram, yeah, just like
Yeah.
just, I don't like how this
filter.
picture looks. I don't like how I look in this picture. The filter, we'll put a filter on it.
Yeah.
Instagram has ruined filters.
I have a bunch of friends, like, if I go out to a bar with them or whatever, and they take pictures, they freaking throw filters on it, and it's like, bloody hell. Yeah, anyway. But, I mean, like, I actually really like the picture in the GIF, like, right before the filter and all the little bubble things, like, yellow, like circles or, like, thrown on it.
Yeah.
I enjoy looking at, like, the details and stuff of it, and, like, the actual, like, colors that the artist picked, and all the things, and all of a sudden it's like, and it's just, like, all the colors shift, everything shifts, and it creates a new piece, and maybe it's just, like, jarring for what I saw to change so much. But, like, look, not knowing that a filter's thrown on it and just placed as an art piece, like, it still looks, like, awesome. Like, I don't have a problem with it. It still, looks really good when I know, like, when I accept these as, like, the original colors or what have you, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
there was something last week, I think it was the Assassin Monkey piece that you brought up, Ted. That one was interesting, too, because if you take a look in the work in progress, the colors are very normal, and you can tell that, you know, the character that we're looking at is not Applejack. She's got, like, blue hair, or bluish green or teal or whatever. And then the very last step is there's like a filter put on. So that kind of reminded me of that. Now, this one's obviously way more extreme, and it would be interesting to see a version of this picture without the filter on, for sure.
So, is this posted to Twilight's Instagram?
Yeah.
Just reading hashtag filters.
Hashtag book life.
It's also going to remind those watching, if you enjoy seeing 3D created scenes like this that are kind of, you know, done part digitally 3D modeled and then painted over, I would refer you to our last crab battle episode.
Yes.
And by one of our artists, I Am Not, actually did the same exact thing where he 3D modeled the scene and then painted a giant crab into it. Might be worth your time.
Yeah, and I think there's also an honorable mention that was actually done in 3D but made to look like 2D. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Well, that's all I really had to say about it. I think it's cool. I think it'd be interesting if we saw a version of this without the filter.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that we're spoiled with a work in progress, and that this picture, if we didn't see the work in progress, would still stand out as being really
like,
awesome.
The work in progress with the GIF is really cool, but I'd love to see like a Tumblr post with just all the individual frames of that GIF posted. Would be also
Yeah,
cool.
it's a bit hard
Yeah.
when they cycle so fast. I can understand that.
Yeah, you can decompose it, but who wants to go through that?
And then it's all low resolution, and it's like super JPEG'd, GIFed, whatever you want to call it.
JPEG.
Super gift. All right, so we're going to move on to the next piece, which is mine, which is called The Burden You Bear by Husi, who is a fantastic artist. And this shows Twilight fighting Tyrek, or about to fight Tyrek, and Tyrek has all of Twilight's friends. Or no, this is after she fights Tyrek. And all of her friends are in bubbles. What I like about this piece is that Husi has gone through and given each of the main six a different expression. And I absolutely love Rarity's like shocked / surprised expression, like really wide-eyed. Ah!
Yeah, I really like all of them. You know, like that's a really small detail about the piece, but I think it's good that we started on it, because if you take a look at every single one of them, it kind of captures this sense of their character and their personality in each one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like Applejack is trying to gain stability inside this unfamiliar bubble. You know, Rainbow Dash is trying to fight back against it. You know, Pinkie Pie is like super shocked, but also kind of amazed and might think this is like the coolest thing ever. You know, Rarity is, everybody's got their own kind of thing that really fits in with the scene, and it's a small touch, but it really brings the piece together, and it's the small details that matter.
Yeah.
Schmeritetje.
Rarity doesn't have a horn.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Rarity doesn't have
Speaking of small details.
yeah.
It's okay, it's in her hair.
Also, when I first looked at this piece, I definitely thought that Spike was Tingle. I like looked in the background from like Legend of Zelda, and I was like, is that Tingle?
I
was
have
like,
no
oh, it's
clue who that is.
Nobody knows who Tingle
Neither
is?
do,
No?
neither do
Really?
I.
All right,
Huh?
Tingle. All right, you just keep going. Keep going.
Okay. So something else I really like about this piece is the fact that there's a lot of motion implied in the background, because there's like these breaks in the clouds, but it's all like kind of circular and bowed up, so it's like and you get like all these sparks of dust and dirt flying and whatnot. I thought that was a really nice touch.
I want to say it. Force perspective.
Yes, definitely.
You're looking up from the ground, like behind Twilight, looking up at T-Rex, and he looks huge because he's kind of big. But for this force perspective, this positioning that we're in, we're on the ground looking up. It makes everything look so much bigger than it really is. So Twilight and T-Rex don't really look like they're that far. Like they don't really look that much different. He's like a pony taller than Twilight is. Like just from looking at this, but the sense that you get from this, he's also really far back and he's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
If you look down at his feet that are on the ground, they're like faded out a bit, as in sort of gives you this atmospheric perspective type thing.
You mean atmospheric?
Atmospheric.
For God's sakes.
Shut up,
Type
Ted.
thing here where like his feet look like they're way back and his forelegs are real close.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not even that close. They're still blurred out a bit. So he looks like he's way back in the distance and he's still that big.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that his stance also plays a big part in the whole force perspective, because it kind of makes him tower a little bit more above Twilight, and yeah, you get this kind of separation between his hind legs and his forelegs, and like because you have these kind of, I guess, reference points for like how you're looking at the scene, like up from the ground. He definitely looks very big.
Yeah, and having the other main six around him kind of gives that sense of how large he is as well, because they're not too far away from him. Twilight's far away from him, but they're not too far away from him, so it really shows you how big he really is.
Well, he's like 17 ponies tall.
Very specific measurement there.
Do you think they measure in ponies or?
Yeah, they measure in
No,
hoofs.
hands.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A horse's hands.
Yes.
So yeah,
No.
enough about that baldashery. Husi, the artist, is a fantastic painter. Like what I would say the most awesome thing about this piece that I really, really enjoy is how Husi chooses to use colors. And importantly in that context is complements. So there's two major complements of colors going on. It's actually purple and yellow, so Twilight, and then if you look on Twilight, you'll see a bunch of little yellow accents and highlights of like the lighting, which is like, I guess, placed behind Tyrek, which is casting that kind of like, what do you call that, edge highlighting thingy, majig, forget the word for it. Yeah, the silhouette on the edge of Twilight, and then all over the back of Tyrek, that bright yellow light. And then also what I'd like to bring attention to is something like, I guess we mentioned a lot on the show, is blue and orange. This entire scene is a really, really bright orange, but a lot of people wouldn't notice that the other major color is blue, but it's super, super subdued and it's super muted. So in the sky, almost creating this like reverse vignette, whatever the word for that is, on the very top of the painting and like behind Tyrek is a very dull blue behind that orange, which when it blends with the orange, kind of, they blend together and kind of mute each other out, almost making like a dark gray or a black. But the artist, Husi, has not explicitly used black anywhere in this piece, with like, even like in Tyrek's chest and areas, it's like dark brown. The closest thing to black is actually his eyes and then like parts of his ear. And everything else actually like has a color or a hue to it, especially like the sky in the background. And then also the ground on the bottom of everything, again, is like a dark blue, a very muted blue, instead of like using black or something like that. And it's just really well done. Even like the little bubbles that all the characters are in, the main six and stuff, they have like a orange tint on the bottom and then a blue tint on the top. And so everything's like the playing of these complements.
Yeah, or at least an orange tint towards Tyrek and then a blue tint away.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole like complements for shadows and stuff, or warm colors and cool colors for shadows, not really complements. But you get the orange, like at least for defining the bubbles to give them like a more 3D feel, I guess. You know, you have the highlighting, which is orange, which is a very warm color, and then you have the shadow, which is a blue, cooler color.
Yeah.
I really like how Husi did the whole like lens flare kind of thing. I think that would be classified as a lens flare of Tyrek's mask and like magic, the whole horizontal bar across. Really well done. And I love how it interacts with the scenery. So.
action lines, diagonals. If you look at the clouds, what is that? Those like God highlights or whatever people call them, like those sunbeams coming through clouds. They're all like a diagonal angle coming down from like the big circular area that is like Tyrek and the bubbles, whatever. They're all like angled away from the scene.
That was the second thing I mentioned.
Oh, okay.
On this piece.
But did you mention that they're specifically like placed to like point basically the viewer and us inwards, like towards Tyrek and like the little energy ball?
Not as eloquently, but
Okay. Well, there we go. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
It's the same kind of thing. And did you also select the piece last week with the castle and like everything that Hussey had made?
No, that was me.
No,
that
Okay.
was
But in that same piece, it's the same
Rainbow
kind of concept, like Hussey specifically using diagonals to like his favor to kind of depict this scene.
Yeah.
And it's got the same kind of curvature as last week as well. Similar type of curvature, not same.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to our last piece by
But
Brony.
value.
I know.
The darker things are in front.
There's value there.
That's all.
Shocker.
Yeah. Look at that.
It's a really nice piece. Go check it out.
Speaking
These are
of
all
value.
These are all really nice pieces. Go check them all out.
Burned. The value pony. Show your art piece.
I like to call myself the value horse.
Hashtag value horse.
All right. So the piece I chose for this week was Night of the Bat by Sabichu. Just lots of Flutterbat and Luna pieces.
It sounds like
there's a few bats in this one.
I'm glad that you chose a Flutterbat with this artist because it kind of sounds like Transylvanian, like Sabichu. It's nice to beat you. Or eat you. Damn it. I tried to make
nice
it a
to
pun
beat
to eat you and I said beat you. I'm sorry, Bernd. I'm sorry.
So, the cool thing about this artist is I'd actually never seen this artist's artwork online before. I didn't even know that this DeviantArt had existed. We actually went to BronyCon, and this was an artist at BronyCon who was selling prints, and the artist actually like just uploaded this pony art to DeviantArt like 2 days before BronyCon, like the convention, and then like I saw those prints hanging up, like these are awesome. How come I've never seen these before? And she was like, well, kinda just uploaded them. And I'm like, well, shame on you. So I got a card and I followed her on DeviantArt. And these are some really awesome pieces. She has a few more in her gallery as well, like Luna and Rarity. But anywho, I really, really like the painting in this piece. Like, it's using kind of like Photoshop brushes or whatever you painted inside, but they're like kind of painty brushes that they'll have like scratchy bits or whatever. They're not supposed to be clean brushes or default Photoshop brushes. They're meant to be kind of messy. And everything is just super brightly colored and super just like painted on. And there's tons of uses of like complements and contrasting colors. I would almost say that this piece is done in primary colors, but there's some definitely bright pinks and violets in here.
Actually, Burned, the first thing I noticed about this piece is it's very much CMYK. There's CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, black.
You could
Man,
print
you guys
that
are
very
really
well.
fast and loose with the usage of blue in these pieces.
My goodness. Okay, sure. I was like trying to understand what you meant. CMYK, yes.
Yeah.
So, but the thing with CMYK is, and when I say, alright, so color wheels. We haven't talked about this too much. Well, I guess we have in every single bloody episode. But CMYK is very, very similar to primary colors, as I mentioned, which is yellow, blue, and red, like the traditional artist color wheel. CMYK are very, very explicit, like tone colors and printing colors because they're very pure pigments that come off well as ink. So which is why we use them for digital printers. But just the traditional artist color wheel of yellow, red, and blue being primary colors they're kind of synonymous. They fit together really well because you're still using pigments. It's just paint, and it's more of a broad sense of the use of colors. So you're totally correct in that this is like definitely CMYK close to those pigments. And it came out really, really pretty as a print, let me tell you. But it is the same kind of point with like, it's a very primary color piece using like shades of blue, red, and yellow. And then obviously there's tons of colors in between there. Like there's lots of purples and pinks and whatever. The point I was just trying to make is that there's colors in this piece that are way like away from each other on the color wheel. So they super interact. Like they don't like fit together well almost, but they look awesome next to each other, which is why I chose to pick this piece, because I really enjoy it for that sense. So, like, the blue that it's used to basically shade Fluttershy almost looks like it has no earthly business being there, but it looks awesome, and I love seeing stuff like that. And that's actually my favorite thing about this piece, is the really bright reds against the yellows, and then the really ridiculous blues that are in there to shade everything. And I love it. I think it's awesome. And the background is equally as bright as Fluttershy, which, like, Fluttershy and the clouds and the moon in the background almost don't seem to, like, be apart from each other. They almost seem to be, like, one thing. The only thing separating them is, like, outlines and, again, more colors.
Yeah, and also the size of the moon as well. It's kind of, you know, your brain goes, all right, well, they're the same brightness, so flatten them. But then you look at the moon and you're like, well, the moon can't be that small, so she must be really far away. And it gives you, like, this weird, like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, I would even say, like, the moon's really almost big in comparison to her, which in, you know, you see the clouds, so it makes me think, like, oh, she's, like, placed up, flying, like, way high in the sky, so she's, like, closer to the moon. It's kind of crazy. And also something else that's crazy is there's clouds behind the moon and then clouds in front of the moon, so it kind of puts this moon in this place that it shouldn't be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how does it even possibly
Yeah.
clouds behind
So-
the moon?
How do you cloud
And
behind
then
moon?
she's, like, in the middle of space with, like, stars underneath her and then flying with bats. So she's, like, in this crazy outer space, like, world. Like, there's this crazy little world going on that's kind of, like, that she's in. It's cool.
She's a
Like,
space
what is
bat
this,
pony.
Majora's Mask?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, you get that reference, but you don't tingle?
I
out of here,
get a
you
giant
plebs.
moon face. That was, like, the whole advertising campaign of Majora. Come on now.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I just wanted to point out, it's interesting in this one, you've got, like, a fair bit of black. You don't really see, like, black in a whole lot of places. It's even with Flutterbat and Luna and stuff, it's usually either, like, a really, really dark gray, or there's, like, bits of color mixed into it. But in this one here, like, the bottom left-hand side, it's just black. There is no color there at all.
I would argue that it's a dark blue, or at least on my monitor, I see that it's, like, a very, very dark purple or blue. It's not quite the pure black.
To me, it looks like a pure black, and I get a pretty decent monitor.
Well,
Oh, snap, monitor wars.
No, just
It's
kidding.
probably better than yours.
I would have to put it into Photoshop to see what the actual color is, but it doesn't look black to me.
Looks good to me.
I
Yeah.
disagree.
it.
You disagree with everything, Bun.
All right, now kiss
True,
and make up.
true.
That's sigh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy the whole use of colors in this piece. And it seems to me like there's not too much of a value shift, at least on, like, Fluttershy and the moon and the clouds. The background is obviously a lot darker. But I think that, like, shading and stuff is done more with colors. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bernd, because...
Well, I'm putting it into Photoshop, and let's see.
There's a lot of value in this piece. There's a lot of different values in this piece. I would argue against it.
But the point Ted was making was absolutely correct. Like, there's hardly any, like, difference in value in Fluttershy and, like, the moon and clouds. Like, there's a little bit, but it's just because the hue is shifting. But it's pretty much, like, just bright essences of color. And then obviously the biggest shifts of value is basically just the background, like the sky, like the night sky with the stars. So it's basically like the big values here are the background, the stars, the bats, and then there's pretty much everything else, like the clouds and Fluttershy and, like, the moon is all basically, like, one kind of big solid chunk of value. And as always, Burn continues to be correct. That is a very deep blue.
And so modest, too.
Yeah, you know.
Quite, you know, I can't.
This is why people like you, Bun.
Bernd, I think you're the best at being modest.
I would like to think you're correct.
He's so humble, too, at being modest.
It's like
All right, well, now that we've settled that,
It's like-
does anybody have one last thing to say about this piece?
Um,
Okay, well, Bernd just took up one opportunity to make fart noises.
I was
like
going
a
to say
professional.
while you're talking that is it's only like 10 points on, like, the what is it, the 255 whatever of being complete black. Like, it is pretty much black with the exception of
It's
like
pretty darn dark.
a couple points in the color Photoshop thingamajigger. There is a pure point of black though if you look in the very bottom left, like right above, like right in between the little pointy star and the little white dot, like underneath the bat in the sky there.
The pointy star and white dot.
Darn dark.
That is actually pure black 000 in Photoshop. Fun fact.
All right.
Cool beans.
So that was the art.
That was the art. It was good art.
Yeah.
Good art. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. So, Mr. Jolly Pants, would you like to move on to the questions, which I will try to help you with because I totally screwed with the questions this week, so I'm sorry. But
You did. You do the first one.
Okay. Do you want me to do the first one? Yeah.
Yeah.
So while we were doing this episode, I realized. So I picked the questions at random because we didn't really find any that were like stood out to us. So we were like, yeah, let's pick them at random. So I did that, and the first one I picked was a question that was going to end up being like half an hour long to answer. So this comes in from Ramaslack, and this is edited. So this isn't really his question, but it was based off of his question. So the question is, pick one of your lesser liked main 6 characters or less popular main 6 characters in your mind, and pick an episode. So what episode that featured them prominently did you really enjoy?
See, I saw this question like way before we started the episode, like the original question, and so I went through the episode list and chose one for each of the main 6. So
See, that's way too long.
I know.
Yeah. Basically, his question was like expanded to like all of the main 6. Like, what's your favorite episode per main 6? So I chose. I think it'd be interesting if we all picked one that like. Like obviously, like I'm a huge fan of Rainbow Dash, so I'm not going to pick one to do with that. But like maybe one of my quote unquote lesser liked characters, we would go think about an episode where they really like stood out to you. So does anybody want to start?
I think Apple Guy should start because he has a list already.
But now I have to choose one out of all 6. I will choose Pinkie Pie. Because hers was the first episode that I chose because it stands out so much. Party of One, absolutely one of my favorite episodes in the entire series, and definitely one of her best episodes in my mind.
Yes.
Yeah, one that stood out to me in particular was a Fluttershy episode, and I don't remember what it's called, but it was the episode with the pony tones, where
Philly Vanilli.
Yeah, Philly Vanilli. So where Big Mac lost his voice and she had to sing with Poison Joke. I thought that was really fun, and it explored a lot of good concepts and had a really good message at the end. So I really liked that episode, and I liked her in that episode. What about the other guys? Have you thought of anything on the spot?
Joel, yes, no? Who's your least favorite character, Joel?
Let's start with that. Who's your least favorite out of the main 6?
Like you wouldn't think to have a favorite episode, because that's what I was kind of thinking about.
See, as a disclaimer, Pinkie Pie is not my least favorite of the main 6.
I know, but I'm using it to prompt. I'm using it to prompt him, and he hasn't answered yet.
Yeah.
Because
hey, me or Burn?
Yes, you, the person I'm talking to, Joel.
I thought you were talking to Burn.
No,
Burned.
Yes.
All right. I'm thinking. Possibly the Sister Hoof Social with Rarity.
Okay.
That's a
I
good
mean, it's
one.
not like she's my least favorite, but
Yeah. No, it's
that's
not
the
supposed to be
only one
least favorite.
that's
It's just
the first thing that came into my head.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
episode.
Yeah, that was a good
I like
episode.
Because, like, up to that point, Rarity was kind of, still very... What do you want? Drama queen? What's what I'm looking
Yeah,
for?
it
Diva.
definitely
Like,
gave her
still
a lot
very
of depth.
diva-esque, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, like, that was a very cute episode, kind of placed in between that. Like, characters that I didn't enjoy in the beginning, I'm talking, like, season 1, were, like, Rarity, maybe Fluttershy, but I've always really liked Rainbow Dash. And then Applejack, I guess? I don't know. But I don't have like a least favorite character. I've always really liked all the characters because they all have their own niche. But Rarity, I think, grew on me the most.
I think the funny thing was not to interrupt you, but just to go off of your Rarity thing. I think the funny thing is that we all started out being a bit meh on Rarity. When we first started this podcast, I remember talking about it when we used to watch the episodes.
Yeah.
And we were all kind of meh on her. And over the seasons, she's really, really grown on, I think, every single one of us.
Should go listen to some of those old spoiler casts just so I remember my old opinions because I've forgotten them all. But like, I really enjoy Rarity's character now. But I'm trying to think of an episode that kind of like stood out to me where I really liked that character.
What about her key episode?
Yeah, Rarity Takes Manhattan.
That's like I'm thinking like I'm still thinking like first season.
First
Like
season.
Rarity's been fantastic since season 2 to me.
Yeah.
I a lot of people still don't like the beginning episodes of My Little Pony. I actually really enjoyed a lot of them. I think it's like the third technical episode because the first one was a 2-parter. So the third episode is like Applejack like overworking herself or something, right?
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really liked that episode. Because it was like the first episode I watched that gave depth to a character of like Applejack. Like one of her flaws is she works too hard, and so she like overexerted herself, and Twilight's trying to help her as a new friend or whatever.
Right. Cool. I don't remember what that one was called.
Yeah.
Applebuck season.
Yes.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's our 4 episodes that were about characters that we
Either
aren't
that
like super huge fans about.
Or Winter Wrap Up made me like Twilight a lot.
That's true. Winter Wrap Up.
Yeah,
was
it's
good.
true.
Yeah.
I always liked Twilight
It's
though.
also got one of the best songs.
I didn't know it.
It's true.
I don't know. I'm
Right,
really
second
bad
question.
at naming like favorite episodes, so take it as well.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was good. You definitely gave one. All right, let's move on to the second question then.
What is the best and or worst surprise that ever happened to you by Sonnenblitz?
Oh my god, I have the perfect one!
Guess who's going first?
Oh my god! Best story of mein Leben. Okay, so... I was on this road trip once. I was going to a Magic tournament. I was going to play in a Legacy tournament in Seattle, so 3-hour drive. And I was going there with some Magic friends of mine, and we all rented a room together, and we were going to sleep the night before, and then, then play in the tournament the next day, or whatever. So, on the ride up there, it's me, 2 friends of mine, or 3 friends of mine, excuse me, and we're road tripping up there, and we're going to meet with 2 more friends of ours and, like, share the hotel room with them. So, on the trip up, we were buying, like, snacks and stuff for the 3-hour road trip, and I buy these chips, these potato chips. They were bacon maple flavored potato chips. They're like
right up
kettle,
my
they
alley.
were kettle chips. And I was like, dude, these got to be interesting. Like bacon and maple, like you can't go wrong with these. They were the most absolutely disgusting chips I have ever had in my bloody life, dude. Oh my god, they tasted like soap and like that like fake bacon. It was so bad. So like that phony bacon like you get when you buy like crappy salads, you know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness. Bacon. Exactly. So they were terrible, like worst experience I've ever had on a road trip eating those bloody chips. I still have bad memories of them. So I didn't eat any of them, like rolled them up and like left them in the car. And then when we got to the room, we all unpacked and like brought the food and stuff in the room. I had gone to the tournament and my friends had left it at the 2 friends we were meeting left after me, and they had saw the bag of potato chips there, and they were hungry. So they were like, "Man, like we should. You think Bern would get mad if we eat his potato chips?" And they didn't know, but they were like, "Dude, we're so hungry. Like, screw it, we'll eat them." So they ate all of my potato chips without telling me, and then we like went throughout the entire turn, whatever, and we like all went home. And then the next day, I'm at work. I'm working at the Batcave, which is a Magic card store. And one of the friends who I had met up there at the Magic tournament was Casey, and he like strolled in looking kind of guilty. And I was like, "Hey, what's up? Like, good seeing you." And he's like, "By the way, I didn't tell you, but yesterday during the tournament, I stole and ate all your potato chips, and I feel really bad about it. So I bought you a new bag."
Oh, no.
And he hands me a brand new unopened bag of those absolutely awful potato chips. And I'm just like, dude, like, why would you buy me another bag of these? They're terrible. Like, you did me a favor eating them. And then, like, I was basically just ripping on him about these awful potato chips. And it was like, it was so hard, like, because it's like, oh, you know, it's a thought that counts. Like, I appreciate the gesture, you getting me this potato chips, but it's like, these are awful. Like, I don't want these. Take them back. Like, I couldn't appreciate this gift that
You want to
just
do
like
me a real
surprised
favor,
me
like
with.
take them away now.
Oh my god! So I was like, how about like, thank you, but as a token of my appreciation, how about you eat them again?
That's
Yeah,
funny.
that's a
good
great
stuff.
story. That I was just relevant like 2 days ago. I was joking about it with him.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
funny. I think I wouldn't say it's like best or worst surprise, but a cool surprise that I had was when the Wii first came out, the Nintendo Wii. It was like really really hard to get in stores. Like there were shortages everywhere, and like people like predicting that, and people were staying out like way late overnight to get something. And at the time, I don't remember how old I was, but I wasn't like willing to go out and stay up for it. But it came out in like November, I believe. And my birthday is at the end of November, but I wasn't really like expecting that at all. I think I don't remember what I asked for my birthday. But yeah, basically on my birthday, my parents, or a week before my birthday, my parents gave me this gift, and they're like, open it. And I'm like, it's a week before my birthday, and they're like, we couldn't hold it back any longer. You might as well like use it now while you can. And I open it up, and it's a brand new Wii. And my parents, on like the opening day, stayed outside for, I swear, 6 to 8 hours.
Oh wow.
They stayed out like overnight, like midnight, and like they stood in this line for so long to get like one of the only ones. And like right
That's
after
awesome.
that, they like kept selling out, if you guys remember. So like I was like one of the only kids with a Wii just because my parents went out and like my parents aren't like gamers. They don't know anything about it, you know? So like the fact that they did that was just so like I don't know, it was really cool. It was really cool. And I always remember that one in particular because I thought it was really cool of them to kind of like step out of their comfort zone and step out of like what they normally would do and do that.
That's awesome. I think the most my dad ever did, he's like, hey, I bought you another Xbox. So it was like a second Xbox, like original one. It's like I found it at a garage sale. Here you go. I was like, oh, like,
okay.
thank you. I mean, at the time I was pumped, you know, system linking was the new thing. Like, yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I can't really think of anything, so I'm either going to hijack Burn's story, or I got a giant Nerf gun for my birthday one year,
That's
cool.
awesome.
Oh,
Like-
snap.
like 2 years ago.
My parents
That's
didn't
cool.
believe in Nerf guns. Jealous.
I was 22 and I got a giant Nerf gun for my
Oh,
birthday.
never mind. You're like a kid.
Burn.
No,
do
it's sitting
you
in
have
my
a problem
garage
with
right
that?
now. It's
Like,
like
when I
battery powder
was
and
7,
everything.
my parents wouldn't buy me Nerf guns and stuff because they thought I would shoot at them or break stuff in the house. They're like, no, you can't have Nerf guns. Like, an overpriced piece of plastic. And I was like, but giant Nerf machine gun. Like, no.
This is the time to do it.
This
Bernd,
was when there
you're
wasn't
young
really any other big ones. It was the Nerf Vulcan, like the huge one that was around at the time.
Ooh.
Okay. Because like by the time I was 16, I'd buy my own bloody Nerf gun.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
I think in recent history, my favorite surprise was probably Burned you going to that first convention after we had started the podcast and getting us all
snap.
art. And like
That
then
was pretty
then we had that whole surprise episode and we had no idea what it was going into it. And then you just like completely surprised us all. That was really nice.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah, getting like the commissions done.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just remember it was fun to be like, forget this theme for this week. I got a new one.
Yeah, you just walked in and you're like, I got this, guys.
Yeah. And we're like, what?
Well,
what?
Like that
That's
that
sweet.
episode was one of the reasons why you were allowed to like take control of future episodes because you did that one so well. Like I remember talking to you and you were like, I've got this idea, can I just do the episode? And I was like, well, okay. Like I'll give you a chance to do that and just like take over and like I want to see like what you do. And you nailed it. And so like when you came to me later and was like, I want to do an episode about value, I was like, okay, well the last time you asked me you did pretty well, so
All right. I guess I'll give you credit this time. You have
Yeah.
good credentials so far.
yeah.
You've kept those good credentials somehow throughout the years.
It's true. It's true.
Somehow. Thanks.
It's true. Every single Burned episode has been good.
A burned episode, if you will.
I will give you that credit.
We need more burned episodes. Burned
We
is
need
also
more-
Burndini the lazy butt wizard.
Brendini. I believe I've started calling you Brendini more, actually. That's my
Brendini.
personal. Yeah.
Burndini, I believe, was a name you gilded to me, and I actually just really like that name.
Yeah.
A Burndini the
People don't know
wizard.
this, but I enjoy calling you weird names because your name is.
I have a bunch
weird.
of pet names. I think someone on the Mumble server I go to actually calls me one of the names that you made. I think Brenda.
Brenda.
Yes.
Yep. Brenda.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're definitely Brenda in my heart, Burn. it's your Rule 63 version of you, Brenda.
All right.
All right. Well, we need to wrap up because we're like 5 minutes over time. So, does anybody want to do the plug super quick?
I can do it.
All right.
So we have a DeviantArt, which is Cutie Art Crusaders at .deviantart.com. We have a Facebook, which is Cutie Art Crusaders on the Facebook. We have Twitter, which is @CutieArtCrusade. We have an email, which is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com. We have a Tumblr, which is cutieartcrusaders.tumblr.com. And we have a Facebook, which is, YouTube, which is youtube.com/cutieartcrusaders. Go to all of these various places. You can find us individually or us as a group. You can talk to us, etc., etc., etc. Go to DeviantArt if you really want to talk to us. It's the best place to talk to any of us. Do that.
Yep. So thanks again to everyone who's kind of taken those steps and followed what he was just saying and heading over to DeviantArt, with those 1,000 watchers.
Shout out
that's
to
really awesome.
Ram, Slack, and Citizen Smiley. Last week on the podcast, I said I didn't have a lot of art to critique, so no one had sent me stuff, and they went out of their way to send me art, so thank you for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
Send in questions. Any questions?
Anyone else out there would like some art critiques, please feel free to contact me at burned01.deviantart.com. I would love to critique your art on a video.
That's really
Also, we have 75 questions, so
cool. Hey.
you can still send
Still
in more
send us more
questions. We're currently randomizing through our questions because none of them stand out to us. So if you send one in and it stands out, then we'll use it. So
make it
There
stand
you go.
out.
Yeah.
Do it.
all right, well that's everything. We need to wrap up because we are definitely over time. But that's everything for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a really good time. This was a good episode.
Mhm.
Really nailed this one. I'm proud of all of us. But yeah, other than that, my name is Rainbow Plasma.
My name's Burn01.
I'm Flutterguy317.
Atmos Park.
Why?
We did
Why
that
do you
again.
immediately make me regret saying that we did well?
I think it's awesome that when I whisper, Ted has to whisper too.
Yeah, it's true. I'm a follower.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
All
we
right.
did nail it. I love nailing things.
All right. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Don't forget to hug your sticky koalas.
Sticky claws.
Bye.